Hey y'all, Miss Osborne back again with another flip video here. We're looking at nationalism. Nationalism sparked revolutions across Europe, and new nations such as Germany and Italy started forming along cultural lines based on ethnic differences. The absolute monarchy started to fall, and the revolutions forever changed the map of Europe and their balance of power. The essential questions that we'll be focusing on in this video are: how did nationalist sentiments cause revolutions throughout Europe? What challenges did Italy and Germany face after unification? Golden Hawk historians will analyze the reasons in which nationalist feelings arose and started revolutions, and examine the effects of nationalism on the balance of power in Europe. While you're watching, make sure that you're taking good notes in either Cornell or outline format as we've talked about in class. It's okay if you need to pause or rewind the video in order to ensure that you understand all of the information and that you're taking good notes. Nationalism was a devotion to one's national group or country, and it began rising in Europe during this time period, causing many revolutions in the late 1800s. At the Congress of Vienna, after the French Revolution, Prince Metternich of Austria sought to maintain a favorable balance of power amongst the European countries and to establish power for the different monarchies. However, the Congress of Vienna really started to create these national boundaries based on the balance of power and what the monarchs wanted, rather than what the cultural and ethnic groups were and where those members were located, and they started to place these differing members under the same power. Italy overall had not been unified since the Holy Roman Empire was in place during ancient times. Even though everybody in Italy pretty much spoke the same language, the peninsula was broken up into smaller states, such as the Papal States, the Northern States, and the Southern States, and each had its own government. A lot of Italy was ruled by three main European powers: Austria, the German Habsburgs, and then the French, which angered many Italians who wanted self-rule. Italian leader Giuseppe Mazzini believed that Europe needed to redraw the boundaries that were set by the Congress of Vienna, mainly looking at Italy. The Italians united behind this message and began leading rebellions by declaring war on the European power over their region. A lot of the rebellions were unsuccessful. Overall, they were successful, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. Camillo di Cavour founded a nationalist newspaper called Il Risorgimento, or Rebirth, calling for independence from Austrian control. Cavour worked to gain powerful allies such as the French, and were able to regain control of northern Italy from the Austrians. Italy wouldn't have been able to unify itself without Giuseppe Garibaldi, who joined the Mazzini's movement as the military leader. He was exiled to South America due to his nationalist tendencies, but returned to Italy with knowledge of guerrilla warfare that he had learned in South America. He and his red shirts, or Garibaldi's followers, based on the red shirt that they wore, as you can see him wearing in the top right-hand corner, used guerrilla warfare to conquer the rest of Italy from the European powers. Overall, they were able to unify, and they voted for unification in 1861 under King Victor Emmanuel of Sardinia. Following unification, though, Italy had a couple of challenges. One, there was a lot of widespread poverty because unemployment was really high, and so a lot of Italians began immigrating to the United States. The government also needed to start passing some reforms because industrialization and infrastructure such as railroads were very low. The government also started to form military alliances with Austria Hungary and Germany. Similarly to Italy, Germany was not a unified nation in 1848, but they did have a common language and culture. The Germans were currently organized into the German Confederation, which aided nationalism. There was also an economic alliance amongst the German states called the Zollverein, or a customs union that allowed for the removal of tariffs on products traded between the German states. German liberals in the state of Prussia revolted against the government in support of a government that was based on Enlightenment ideals, either a republic or a constitutional monarchy. The monarch, Frederick Wilhelm IV, the German king, quickly promised a constitution, but eventually took back his promises, and he never ended up writing a constitution, which angered the German people. Otto von Bismarck was the one who was able to lead Germany toward unification, using his political philosophy, Realpolitik, or ruling government based on practical or realistic policies rather than idealistic. Wilhelm I, the new Prussian prime minister, chose Bismarck as his prime minister. Bismarck's Realpolitik policies pushed Prussia to increase the power of the Prussian military, and that could be used to end up uniting Germany. Austria was also a leader of the German Confederation and had influence over many of the German states that opposed Prussia's leadership. Bismarck instigated a war with Austria called the Austro-Prussian War, in which the Prussians were able to defeat the Austrians and gain more power over the German Confederation. The Germans were also able to defeat the French, also a power in the German Confederation, for the territory of Alsace and Lorraine in the Franco-Prussian War, and this led to true German unification overall. In the years following German unification, Germany prospered under the federalist government, or a government in which power is shared between the state and national governments. Following unification, Germany experienced a lot of challenges. There was quite a few restrictions on voters, there was a struggle of power between the Catholic Church and the government, and they also needed to build up many infrastructural improvements like railroads, coal mines, and steel factories. As a result, Germany entered into political alliances with Austria Hungary, Italy, and Russia. Austria Hungary formed a dual monarchy in which Austria and Hungary both became two separate equal states but were ruled by one monarch, Franz Joseph I. There were a lot of divisions amongst the different nationalities within Austria Hungary. The German Austrians and the Hungarian Magyars didn't speak the same language or share a culture. In addition to that, there was a lot of different ethnic minorities within the dual monarchy that sought self-government for themselves. The Ottoman Empire could no longer defend itself against the independence movements or external threats, and there was also a lot of different ethnic and religious groups within the Ottoman Empire that all desired independence and would later lead to problems for the Ottoman Empire. Make sure that you read back over your notes and you have all the necessary vocabulary. Thanks for joining me for this message, and I'll see you in class.